important petition. And let me thank the Kenyan Laban for having really thought about the expenditures. Some of them end up being negatory expenditures in county governments. When it comes to county government choosing to hire services of lawyers instead of hiring, or rather instead of using in-house counsel. Madam Speaker, we have over 20,000 lawyers in this country, maybe about 11,000 practicing. I'm looking at the recommendations which the committee, the jailer committee, came up with. And I think sometimes, earlier on, we were discussing the issue of conflict of interest. I think the first thing that the committee members would have done is to declare a conflict of interest and maybe recuse themselves from having to consider this matter. Because that committee is made up of lawyers. So, of course, lawyers will be protecting themselves because they are the ones who want to be able to get briefs from county governments. Madam Speaker, in Narok County, we have a matter that has been dragging in court for the last 30 years. This is a matter that has to do with Olkiombo land. And to be honest with you, I don't foresee any time when the county government will ever win that matter. What will happen is that it will be a pit for lawyers to collect fees. There have been about 4 lawyers who have already benefited from that matter. And each one of them, including some, 2 of them who are senior counsel in this house, have collected not less than 100 million. Now that matter has gone, and the owner of the land, who is being challenged by the county government, won the matter, and he was awarded 30 billion by the courts. I was just having a simple conversation between 3 lawyers in this house. The retired judge, I was having a similar conversation with Senator Sifuna, a similar conversation with Senator Sigei, in terms of legal fees for any award of 30 billion if it has to be cancelled. Senator Sigei was saying, give me an instruction, just in terms of instructions, of 400 million. You know, and then let's talk about disbursements. So in total, it would end up being almost 1.2 billion shillings. Now you ask yourself, really, with our county government, Madam Speaker, do we have 1.2 billion shillings for us to be able to pay for a matter that a court has awarded 30 billion? And the answer is that we don't have it. So really, I'm looking at one lawyer, one simple lawyer. I'm looking at this recommendation and I'm saying, first, I don't believe that we've done a service to that petitioner. And you know, before we never used to debate these petitions. But now it is important that we debate them so that we can poke holes on the recommendations that are given. Madam Speaker, I think the recommendation should have been far more reaching in terms of capping the amount of money that county government can spend on outsourcing legal services. We should cap them to a maximum of 100 million. And then we use in-house lawyers, or we hire in-house lawyers. You cannot tell me, in a country where we have over 20,000 lawyers, we cannot have lawyers who can be able to argue cases better. And in fact, when you look at it, most senior lawyers use junior lawyers to do all the dirty works. And then ultimately, the senior lawyers will go, they are the ones who get paid. You know? No, maybe not dirty work, but to do the groundwork. I've corrected myself. Thank you. The heavy lifting. Let me borrow that word.
Senator Ledama, Senator Mazayo feels a very urgent ad to inform you. Would you wish to be informed?
I definitely would love him to inform me. Please.
Okay, proceed, Senator Mazayo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it's not dirty. I just wanted to say that it might not appear to be clean, but that word dirty does not exist legally. So maybe he can use another language.
So Senator Ledama, you are requested to use a tidier word than dirty.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, Senator Madzayo is my senior and also my leader. I respect his corrections. And let me use the word heavy lifting. Thank you, Senator Oroba. They are the ones who carry out due diligence. They are the ones who carry out discoveries on a matter. They spend hours and hours trying to be able to make sense of any brief that they are given. Then you find that senior lawyers are the ones who will end up getting paid 100 million for a brief. You know, as a former member of the Public Accounts Committee, and also a former member of the Public Investments Account Committee, I came across all these legal bills and how much they are. So I think, and I don't know whether we have room for that because of our standing orders, but this is a matter that I feel that we have not done justice to the petitioner. The recommendation ought to have been that we cap the amount of money that any county government can be able to spend in outsourcing legal services. That is the recommendation number one. You know, when you see, and these are some of my biggest pet peeves, Madam Speaker, when you see a recommendation that says, and Senator Sigay should listen to this, because if I was the chair of that committee and someone brings me such a recommendation, I would throw it back. How can you say the county government should prioritize capacity building program for legal counsel, ensuring competitive remuneration and timely payment of allowances allocated to sufficient budgetary resources and recruit adequate staff to enhance the performance and effectiveness of office of the county attorney? Madam Speaker, when you hire an attorney to be a county attorney, you go through a vigorous process of hiring a qualified lawyer who's trained by the Kenya School of Law, who understand matters, if it is litigation, if it is conveyancing, if it is tax laws. They have gone through different processes. And they do continuous legal training. So you cannot have that recommendation. A petitioner has come and he has said, please, Senate of Kenya, stop county governments from outsourcing legal services. Stop them. You cannot come and say, now build up the capacity. I think, really, JLAC failed there. And I don't know whether this petition can be resubmitted because we've not done justice to it. What are we going to be implementing here? After the petition, it's sent to the implementing institution or agencies. They are going to implement a capacity training for their legal practitioners. Have they turned into a law school? I mean, certain recommendations should really have some merit and some meat into it. County government should strictly adhere to legal framework governing the outsourcing of legal services and implementing strong oversight and accountability measures. Can you just read that again, Senator Sigay, by yourself, even before you come here and submit it? Because seriously, we have is it called the Attorney Remuneration Act? Or lawyers, what is it called? Yeah? Advocates Remuneration Act, which clearly sets how much should be paid, if it is conveyancing, if it is litigation, if it is how much. Then how are you going to come up with a recommendation and say county government should strictly adhere to legal framework governing the outsourcing of legal services? They're already doing it. That's why they give the big cases. You know, if a case is worth 1 billion shillings, what we need to do to be able to give justice to this petition is to say, based on the brief, it should be capped to a maximum of this. If that lawyer cannot get it, get another lawyer. Out of 20,000 lawyers we have in Kenya, there are those ones who really care about the resources that we have. Madam Speaker, the amount of money we spend outsourcing for legal services in this country is ridiculous. We talk about government efficiency. We talk about making sure that we stop wastages of resources. But we are not doing it. Governors, left, right, and center, are using law firms to be able to divert resources. It's that simple. You see a simple brief. Madam Speaker, we go through this. We go through all these matters when we are looking at them. I think what should happen is that during the budget making process, county assemblies must be able to limit the amount of money that can be spent by the county government to outsource legal services. Spend more money with in-house counsel. I feel like this petition has not been given the time that it required. I feel like this petition will not solve anything. And I feel like in future, when a matter comes and it directly affects the members of the committee who are dealing with it, they should just recuse themselves and say, please, let us set up an ad hoc committee to be able to deal with this matter. Lawyers did not give this matter any service. They didn't. Madam Speaker, we look like jokes when we send out these recommendations. I don't agree with them at all. I think if there's a way, I don't know, maybe the Secretariat will be able to advise us because of the time limit of 60 days, whether there's a way for us to relook at this matter again, because it will come back here. We set up an ad hoc committee, we look at these matters diligently, so that when we give out recommendations, these recommendations are too many. I'll read another recommendation, Madam Speaker, which I totally do not agree with it. County government are advised to seek representation from external legal firms occasionally when handling complex and special legal services. What is complex? You've gone to law school. You've been trained. You've graduated. You've been trained to be able to deal with complex, simple, and even cantankerous matters. So it is not that there is a group of, or a cabal, a group of lawyers out there who are trained to deal with complex matters. Complex. I mean, seriously, you guys don't make us look like we are just a bunch of a kangaroo house that just goes with the flow. The next one, Madam Speaker, I'm sorry I'm poking a lot of holes on these recommendations, but I just find them very shallow. The Office of the Auditor General should audit the county government expenditures to identify the specific counties with exorbitant fees spent on legal services as at the time of adopting this report. Give me a break. Madam Speaker, we already know. That report is already out. Where are we trying to still just write things for the sake of it? We already know. All 47 counties, starting from Nairobi County, the amount of legal fees, we already know. The Auditor General has already done it. So if the Auditor General gets this, the Auditor General will just say, okay, give me those reports, cut and paste, boom, boom, send it, here is a report. What are we going to do? Then what? When the petitioner submitted this petition to this House, the petitioner expected us to be able to say, county government, put a cap. Maximum 50 million a year. So we know if we spend any money, it's probably about 200 million. We need to relook at this. I'm going to take about maybe 2 more minutes to finish. Then it comes at noting that some counties like Nairobi and Kitui counties have established a county pending bills review committee to verify all bills owed by the county government and ascertain their real value. The committee recommends that the county emulates the practice as a step towards management of clearing of pending bills. Madam Speaker, all 47 counties have established pending bills committees. We know that. Okay? It is not going to help this petitioner. I just feel like, I'm sorry to say this, but I feel like the committee did not do a good job in this matter. And this petition has not been given the time and the diligence that it requires. Let me stop there because my dear brother, Senator Sige, is looking at me and saying, this is very bad. So, Madam Speaker, I rest my case. I do not support this recommendation. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Ledama. Senator Mungatana Danson Buya.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.